Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and it is time for another episode of the Daily Leeds. It's nice and bright. It's Saturday morning. I hope you're having a good weekend. Before we get into the video, which we've got loads for you today, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course, hit that notification bell. And let's get straight into it. You heard it right. It's going to be Just Joe, and it's going to be all about football. He showed descent. Van It's in!
Yes!
Yes! I've not seen many more appearances from Pablo. Fantastic inaugural guest. I had to pull out the big guns.
And this is the moment when I take a stand.
So guys, we have had an update on Raphinha. Listen, I went on the LFC Daytrippers pod the other day and they were asking me about Raphinha, and it's like, I feel like I don't need to answer this, and nor have I actually touched on it on this videos that I've done, and people keep asking in the comments, and the reason is because all these links to Raphinha apparently going to Liverpool, apparently wanted by Manchester United, it's all BS. It is all BS. It's all ITK nonsense. Raphinha is not going anywhere this season. Clip that up if you're watching this as a Liverpool fan, whoever it may be. No disrespect, the kid is not going anywhere. You know, we're hearing talks that apparently Liverpool are leading the race. If you are leading a race, you need to have contacted the club. There has been no contact whatsoever. Now, naturally, they may have contacted his agent, because if scouts and scouting teams and directors of football at top clubs aren't speaking to his agent, you'd probably be like, are you daft? Do you know what I mean? They probably are saying, look, Deco, is he available? Might it happen? How much? I mean, I seen something the other day, 32 million. Have a day off, will you? Have a day off. And there's a reason why I've not really touched on Raphinha, because I haven't felt I've needed to. Like, the guy's not going anywhere, but I see, I'm really grateful for it. Guys in the comments asking the questions, guys on Facebook asking the questions. Twitter is full of it. And then I went on the Daytrippers the other night. Make sure you check them out. I'll put their YouTube in the description. They're really top lads. And everyone in the comments was just Raphinha, Raphinha, Raphinha. Genuinely, I don't want to break anyone's hearts. Of course, I'm not breaking Leeds United hearts, but anyone that's watching this expecting, you know, there to be something credible like worried, I am not worried one bit whatsoever. Raphinha will not leave Leeds United this summer. You know, clip it up, crop it up, do whatever you want with it. I'm that confident. You know how confident I am that if Raphinha was to go to Liverpool, I will get a tattoo of him with a Liverpool shirt on my body. Any way you want. Genuinely, I am that confident. Now, next summer, we might have a case to answer. We might have a case to answer, because if he has another barnstormer, then naturally he's going to be wanted even more so than he is probably now, right? And look, Leeds United have not been shy in coming out and saying we follow the Leicester model. If you look at the Leicester model, he's your Mahrez. He's your Mahrez. We picked him up from France, same. We paid 17 million for him, which is a pittance. You know what I mean? And we will end up selling him for big bucks, but not this summer. Not this summer. He said himself he's happy here. He understands we love him. The club love him. The fans love him. Victor loves him. Bielsa loves him. He wants to experience a full season at Elland Road with the fans in the stadium before the guy goes anywhere. Genuinely. You know, obviously in the back of your mind, you're like, well, he's best mates with, Bruno Fernandes. Oh, Firmino was the first person to text him when he came to Leeds. All that's trivial stuff. But that could play a part in his movements later on down the line. But the guy's not going anywhere for me. Graham Smith said as much. He said, look, Liverpool will definitely have interest in Raphinha. Most big clubs will. He's a young winger who gave the Premier League serious problems. But Liverpool have never made contact with Leeds United over him. This is from the Graham Smith from the YEP. And you have to imagine it would take a huge amount to get him. You know, when I'm seeing reports of 32 million, genuinely, if you think you can get Raphinha for 32 million, you're on the wacky-backy. You're on the wacky-backy, because it ain't happening. Believe me, that is not happening. You know, there's internet talk of 32 million. Graham Smith said so himself, and a race to secure a signature. The YEP understands that the Reds have never, ever declared interest or even asked Leeds about the Brazilian winger's availability. I listened to the Inside Elland Road pod as well, and like Graham Smith made the point about Deco and said, Deco's probably been getting contacted all the time. It is what it is. This is how it works in football, agents, etc., tapping up. But the club officially have not spoken at Leeds United. Talk of 32 million is just laughable, genuinely. The guy is not going anywhere. I am not worried. Also, Baron Cross from Leeds United Live did a Q&A as well, and he was asked the same question. So the question posed to him was, have you heard anything about Raphinha leaving? I have seen a lot of reports that other clubs are interested in him. This is his response. Raphinha was always going to be the Leeds name linked around. When a Brazilian hits the ground running as fast as he has, it's always going to catch the eye of the gossip columnists. That's what it is, guys. Gossip. Further up the chain, and also clubs further up the chain. From what we know, Leeds love him. He loves Leeds, and he's under contract for several more years. Crucially, Leeds don't need to sell. That's another thing. He loves Leeds. We love him. We don't need to sell. We're comfortable. If this was in the Championship, you're talking a different kettle of fish. If this was base, Chileno, different kettle of fish. But we're no longer that club. We are stable. We are secure. We are going places. Raphinha is not going anywhere. Clip it up. And as I said, if he signs this summer, I'll get a tattoo of Raphinha in a Liverpool shirt on my bloody body. You know what I mean? I am that confident the guy is going nowhere. Okay, we'll carry on with Baron Cross, as I say, because he did a bit of a Q&A, and he says, look, someone asked the question, are we actually looking at Batshuayi and Nathi Hernandez at Cagliari? Now, Batshuayi and Hernandez, I spoke to you yesterday about. I was tagged in something on Twitter from Terry from the Terrace, where one of the reporters, a European journalist, had actually said, look, Batshuayi is available. Batshuayi will be offered to Leeds. He had his best spell at Marseille under Bielsa. That was 5 years ago now. He is quoted as saying he was offered to Leeds last summer. Did we take him? No. So why would we take him now? After not being able to break his way into the Crystal Palace side, after Leeds having an amazing season with Patrick Bamford leading the line and Rodrigo Moreno coming into form after that, it ain't happening. Yes, they might offer him, just like Liverpool offer Origi, Shaqiri, every bloody window to everyone. Batshuayi is not coming to Leeds. Chelsea won't bid. It won't be to us. Send him somewhere else, right? And Baron said, I can't see the sense in going after Batshuayi. He's on big wages, entirely unsuccessful in the Premier League, and plays in a position where Leeds are planning to start one of the division's highest scorers of last season, Bamford, second only to Harry Kane. I love where Baron's put entirely unsuccessful, which is true. And then he says there is Rodrigo and Tyler Roberts already in reserve. He did say as well about Nandez. He says, Nandez is not someone I have heard they are interested in, which is quite surprising because I've heard different. But of course, Baron knows a lot more than me. Let me just put that out there. He says, I think I'm correct in saying he was linked last summer too. The Cagliari links are quite convenient with Rad Razani. There's a little bit of a link there. He was then asked as well another question, any figure on the transfer budget for the upcoming window? And any legs on the Mateus Pereira links? Now, the Mateus Pereira, I actually seen people in yesterday's video asking me questions about Pereira. And I get it, because he would be my ideal signing. I would love us to go after Pereira. I'm big on Javi Gallan now at left back. I'm like, please, let's get this guy for such a low price from Huesca. I spoke to you yesterday, second only dribbling, stats to Messi. He's press resistant. He's just everything that we need as a left back for Leeds United, in my opinion. But again, there is people that know a lot more than me, guys. But he said, there is not an overall figure for the transfer kitty knocking around because I don't think such a figure exists. As we know, Raphinha was not a deal Leeds were expected they would do last autumn, but then he became available and they had to move quick and drew on the finance available from the 49ers to get it done. So let's say, for example, there isn't a kitty, but someone comes available that can't be turned down. There's enough money there for Leeds to say, listen, we can't pass up on this. So he says the club has to be agile in the transfer market and will use more or less money as each deal sees fit. Of course, they will always look for the best value they can. He then spoke about Mateus Pereira. He's someone Leeds are aware of, but so is the rest of the Premier League and Europe. They will keep an eye on him, but I don't think he'll be anywhere near the top of the list of priorities. expect his price to rocket when the bids start going in. Of course, there'll be a lot of interest from the Premier League. We know he can do bits. We knew that from the Championship. Wouldn't have minded him before. Obviously, West Brom, great deal to get him as they did and make sure that that deal was locked in for them to sign him long term. They're now going to get big money for him. They've just been, relegated. It's going to be a difficult deal for us. But he would be the one for me out of the relegated clubs that I'd be like, yeah, let's take him. But it looks like it's a non-mover from what Berren was saying. So that was Berren Cross, little Q&A. Lots of information in there. Really grateful he did that. So big shout out to Berren at Leeds United Live. Also, Rob Green was speaking specifically about Meslier, and so was Luke Ayling. The former Whites and England stopper Rob Green thinks the 21-year-old is an amazing kid who has coped admirably. I'll put my teeth in. Who has coped admirably with the difficult task of keeping goal for Marcelo Bielsa's side. He said Green concurs with Leeds United right back, Luke Ayling, that Meslier deserves more praise than he's had after a season that contained 11 clean sheets, 140 saves, and a 9th place Premier League finish. Luke Ayling went as far as to say if he was English, everyone would be raving about him. He's an amazing kid, and he's only 21. And I have to agree with that statement, Rob Green agreed with it. Luke Ayling made it. I agree with it as well. I've, like I said, been on many podcasts and people go, dodgy that Meslier. Where? One error, Arsenal. One error. That is the one error I can think of against Arsenal. Other than that, the guy has been sublime. The guy has been superb, man. There is nothing wrong with Meslier. Green says the next litmus test for Meslier will be the full reintroduction of supporters next season, but backs the former FC Lorient man's ability to deal with the pressure. He has been brilliant. He has been fantastic, he said. It will be interesting to see how he does when crowds come back. But again, playing in goal and in such a way where you are at the extreme all the time, you are prone to playing errors. Being on the edge at playing out from the back like they do under pressure, it's going to go wrong at times. He is caught with that admirably, and he has the technique to do it. Great praise from Rob Green, who was with us a short while, but a great keeper when he did come in after a shaky start. There is a lot to be said about fans being back in the ground, obviously at Ellen Road and at other arenas across the Premier League. So that will be a test for him. But I know, he'll be totally fine. He will come through that with flying colours. We've also had Patrick Bamford speak about Calvin Phillips, just about him being on England duty and saying, look, every time he goes out there, he gives 100%. He spoke to Sky Sports and said this about his England teammate Phillips. I've seen the way that he's grown as a player. He's turned into one of the best holding midfielders in the Premier League, 100% for me. He said Jordan Henderson and Declan Rice are top players, which shows the strength. But I think that Calvin can definitely offer something special to that England squad. Of course, on Sunday is the final warm-up game. I expect Calvin to start that one alongside Rice. Jordan Henderson, it seems to me, is being saved for the knockout stages. So I expect Calvin to play quite a big part. It's actually been quite frustrating because I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of radio and I digest it all to try and give, just to expand my football knowledge from everywhere. I listen to all sorts of stuff. I try to anyway. And every time they speak about England, Calvin's never mentioned, like Bellingham. I understand Bellingham's an amazing talent. It's going to be Bellingham, Rice, Henderson. All these players, we've got, this was before Trent pulled out, but it was like Trent, Maguire, Henderson. No mention of Phillips. It's pissing me off. But listen, it is what it is. When he goes out and plays for England in the Euros, people will see. Bamford said nothing really phases him. He's a really laid back kind of lad in terms of not letting the pressure get to him. But when it's game time, you're not taking him out of the zone. And we know that, man. The guy is in the zone. We've seen that in the last game of the season. He was in the zone. We love Calvin Phillips, and I know for a fact he's going to have an amazing Euros. And we're going to finish with some more Euro warm-up games and a couple of our lads that were playing. Jani Alioski opened the scoring last night in a 4-0 win over Kazakhstan, converting from the penalty spot in the 35th minute. Jani Alioski bagging his 8th goal for his country. He really is a stalwart for his country. I think he's even worth putting in your Euro dream teams. It is what it is. He takes the pens. You might as well stick him in his Leeds. And of course, Diego Llorente as well came on in the 79th minute, only got about 11 minutes as Spain drew with Portugal. that is it for your daily leads. Of course, you will see now, guys, a video coming up, a suggested playlist, a Euros playlist. Please check that out. I'm doing a Euros breakdown of each group, A, B, C, D, E, and F. And then next Thursday, we've got a live stream with the Before the Whistle Blows crew, some familiar faces that you'll have seen from all Leeds TV. And we're just going to look ahead to the Euros. But in the meantime, if you could check them out, it's just a quick preview on each group, the individuals, the teams within that group, and what my thoughts are on each one. So make sure you check them videos out because it is available here somewhere. I don't know where, but it is around there somewhere. Thank you for watching. As always, have an amazing weekend. I'll see you in a bit. Peace. Leeds.